that suck, but also whatever cooks. But if you give us too much shit, we'll just get pissed off and quit. So don't do it. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show, telling you everything that we know. It's time for Marvel Comics Spotlight Show. Let's go.
Let's go. Here we are with the Weird Science Marvel Comics podcast. I'm here with my man Matt. What up, Matt?
What up, Jim?
What up? What up is maybe one book. Well, we'll see. We were talking right before we started. I'll tell you that we're recording this. What is this, like the 2-minute warning? I mean, seriously, we've never recorded, I think, later. Marvel this late. It's weird because we get the review issue so early that it feels like even later than what it really is. But we're here with the Amazing Spider-Man with me and you, and then possibly I will dip my toe into a couple books. I haven't done solo reviews in a long time. I hate doing them, but maybe I will because we have a couple other books that we can deal with. But we're going to do Amazing Spider-Man, which we always do. Somebody recently asked me why we bother, and I said it's just like Batman. You can't really drop Spider-Man. You have to talk Spider-Man. You have to keep up with it, though. I don't know. Nick Lowe in the back, I'll tell you, that guy thinks everything is peaches and cream. I mean, the guy's just like, oh my God. You could have an issue that's a silent issue that people sit there and look at each other across the table, and then Nick Lowe, my God, the heartstrings. He was yelling that he was doing like crazy pew pew pews and making sound effects. I'm like, really? With this? Because with this one, we continue on with what's happening on Earth while Peter is in space. And I'm not saying the space stuff is great.
Well, it's AKA the super boring stuff. Is what's going on.
That's what it is. Remember the ambient Spider-Man. So we end up having the Amazing Spider-Man number 16. And it's a lot of people sitting around thinking about Peter and the repercussions of maybe not having Peter on Earth. But that's all this has been. And at this point, I'm just waiting as when Norman finally says, you know what? I think I got this down. Peter, he'll show up. He'll show up that minute. And maybe the play will be. Now, in the meantime, I have a theory of what they should have done. I'll tell you in a minute. But the idea of just waiting for Peter to get back and have the characters just wanting Peter back, it's just like, bring him back. I just don't know why they did this. This seems like something that is a setup. Like, say you had an event and you have to have Peter go off to the event. Say the Beyonder comes and grabs a bunch of people, Battle World, all this. Then, I could see it. Okay, we'll do that. We'll have that. But to have it just so artificially done and not really care even about Peter in space is odd.
Also, it's a mystery. We know it's not Peter.
And we know where Peter is.
Yeah, we know where he is. We know it's not him. Yeah.
Now, I will say, too, that one of the big things that people did commend us a bit for, we usually don't get much of that, but it was us really going and saying that Rocket was not any Rocket that we've ever read in the Peter in space deal. But here we are. I won't say that many of these characters act like crazy or different here on Earth, but they're also very boring without Peter around. But it's written by Joe Kelly, pencils by John Romita Jr. We'll get into that in a minute. Inks by Scott Hanna, colors by Marcelo Menez, VC's Joe Caramagna. On letters, Nick Lowe, editing, obviously. But you end up, and it starts off with, Aunt May. She's having her morning tea or coffee. She gets a message from J. Jonah. He's been thinking about her. At one point, I'm like, man, she is swimming in tail, this lady. Like, the older she gets, I don't get it. But people seem to like her. I guess there are people out there with a fetish for the Crypt Keeper. Because when John Romita Jr. draws her, it's even worse. It's so bad.
You said she looks like she's from the Planet of the Apes.
Yeah, Planet of the Apes. It's the crazy deal of he always has to overshade himself. It's one of those where you said, you think that John Romita Jr. is having problems because of the inks and the colors.
Yeah.
But there's also that tug of war, I think, where they might say, listen, we can do the shading. You don't have to do the lines still. You don't have to do that because even look at the thing. One of the craziest looks. It's when Ricardo sneaks up to Aunt May and gives her the kiss from behind. What the hell is going on with her? She's got bug eyes. Looks like she has a beard. I don't know what's happening. And that,
Well,
that
it's
hairdo.
like if you look at Peter hanging upside down, right, naked or
Ben,
topless or whatever. Ben, yeah. I wonder if John Romita even drew any lines on his stomach,
lines,
or
like
the,
in
or
that
the
stomach, it looks
colorist
weird.
did.
Yeah. And then when you do, the inks are too pronounced at the top.
I don't think
so
he's given a lot of information. He's more doing breakdowns, which are less detailed, and then they have to fill it in.
That's what it seems. Also, you even have like weird things where there is Tombstone playing, almost this kingpin deal where he's lifting humongous amounts of weight, and the lines are not kind of lines that you would have it. They don't really do what you would do with it. It's very odd, but it's everybody thinking of Peter. Now, obviously, they don't know that Peter's in space, so they're thinking of Tombstone's thinking of Spider-Man, which happens to be Norman. You end up where Aunt May's getting a message. Aunt May I think that Peter has desensitized her to all this bullshit because she just does not care. Like J. Jonah's like, we need to talk, about Peter, whatnot. And she's like, whatever. It's one thing for Ricardo to say at that one point, your nephew's on drugs. And she's like, no, I know he's bad. The weird play, though, is they're saying everything bad about Peter, but Ben, he's going to work and actually doing some stuff. I would think that they'd think he's busy. This guy's making mushroom housing.
He's
right?
invented the biggest thing ever in history.
That's what I'm saying, and that will totally be shut down like the electric car back in the day. I'm telling you that they're going to have Tombstone or Norman. Somebody's gonna, or even bigger or whatever. Somebody's gonna buy the technology and then squash it. That is my biggest bet of what will happen with that. And then we might get a story where Joe Kelly's like, this is what happens with big pharma and stuff like that, big housing. But that's what I think will happen with that. But in the meantime, that's all Ben needs. If Ben if he had the intelligence that we're playing here, and I think he does, and Janine as well with him, like somebody's got to say, like, just tell Aunt May what you're doing at work. Tell J. Jonah all these things. You're not ghosting anybody. You are working around the clock, like old Brian Nearing, who is there doing his energy drinks. But in the meantime, everybody's just either waxing poetic about how great Peter is. That's kind of Norman. And people who, the two that know that Peter's gone, Ben and Norman, they have their issue. Norman wants to be good like Peter. Oh my God, he's inspiring me. In the meantime, we get now where Ben is reared his ugly head of, I want to be my own person. I don't want to be Peter. And here it is. And you get the idea. It could have been more clever, but you do get a weird play of he kind of is a full-out clone of Peter again. He is, but this is where he has to pretend to be Peter, but before he thought he was. So it's kind of a neat play, but it never plays out that well. It just plays out odd because all you see him do is go and deal with Brian Naring in this asterisk. And it's not interesting, right?
Yeah, and I never believed that he was that great of a scientist anyway. But
that's what I'm saying. I
don't think he has the experience.
I wanted Ben to just keep messing things up, but I like Ben a lot. But it's not really his forte in my mind.
How many people that we're dealing with here know that Peter is Spider-Man? A lot of them, right? Like Norman knows.
That's the weird thing.
J. Jonah Jameson knows,
as far as we know, but he's not saying anything like that.
Just tell Aunt May. This is tired.
And that's what I'm saying.
Like, I can't remember.
And the weird thing that you say, I don't think she does. So
just tell her.
It always is, and then she does, and then she does. But J. Jonah, as far as I remember, in the last
they're
bit,
best buddies,
he knows.
Right?
Yeah. So that's where you should get these things where J. Jonah, who wants to meet with Aunt May, starts to kind of go with that play of like almost telling her, but you never get that far. You never do that. Tombstone, he just has a weird obsession.
He should know because he must be an idiot and he doesn't know.
He has no idea.
I don't think he does.
Every time, I know he doesn't because he keeps going to Peter Parker and going, hey, tell your buddy. In the meantime, they're the same exact build, all that. Yeah. And this is where the story could have been interesting, where lo and behold, how crazy would this be? Where he finally says, I know you're Peter Parker, rips off the mask, and it's Norman. And that would throw him. He'd be like, what the hell? And that would be the greatest thing to go with the idea of, oh, no, he's figured it out. And then that makes it so he doesn't. But they don't do that yet. We'll see. But in the meantime, Tombstone's just obsessed because he's like, this doesn't seem like Spider-Man. Now, in that, when he does talk to Norman and kind of goes through the fact, I mean, there is a point where Spider-Man may just have enough. I mean, Tombstone doesn't stop. he keeps ending up, he gets beat up. He's like, finally, he might just say, screw all you. I'm going to do this, but this doesn't work for Tombstone because it's going to mess up his business and stuff like that. But he does seem, and even Norman thinks, he generally seems worried, which is, it could be nice, but it isn't. It's just kind of there. And then we get Pharma RX. What is it? Plague RX. I'm like, what the hell is this? Get out of here, Hush. But you end up where you have all this going on, and J. Jonah's going to come over and talk to Aunt May and Oliver Ricardo. And when they do have that scene, you know, you have this whole play where he goes over to talk to Aunt May and says, listen, Peter's acting crazy. And this is the thing. He's also thinking, in my mind, Spider-Man being Peter, and he's violent. And this isn't just, hey, Aunt May, Peter hasn't gotten a hold of me in 3 days. I'm worried about him, because that could be just the job thing. But he's seen the whole picture, and he realizes, and lo and behold, this is the best part of this, because we'll just go through each individual thing as they go. Yep. And that part is legit. What you have with J. Jonah, just imagine this. Aunt May throws so much shade at J. Jonah, because J. Jonah goes, hey, I'm more friends with Peter now. Yeah, an abusive essay. He's like, I kind of feel like I'm a father to him. And the funny thing is, J. Jonah always thinks that, even when he was awful, right? But he has been better. And he says, I'm like a father to him. Yeah, an abusive, crazy father, a borderline abusive father figure. Yeah, I could see that. Here's what I want to ask everybody right now. J. Jonah is saying Peter isn't acting right. He's not acting like himself. I think we need to do something. He isn't himself. It's not him. J. Jonah realizes this. J. Jonah not saying that I think it's somebody else, but he's legit saying he is not acting like himself. And lo and behold, he isn't. Peter's in space. Aunt May just says, oh no, Aunt May's completely wrong.
She's so
Aunt
wrong.
May is saying that these other people, she can't even tell. Now, she's not getting the Spider-Man part of it in, but it is Ben Reilly that she just can't tell the difference. She's just like, whatever. He's fine to me, and I'll do this. I'm like, you're completely wrong, Aunt May. J. Jonah is 110% right.
Well, also, Aunt May hasn't even seen Peter in months,
No,
right?
that's what I'm saying. She doesn't seem to care.
She doesn't have a leg to stand on in this argument.
She's got a third leg because Ricardo's banging the house. That's all she cares about.
I think she's mad because they were banging and they had to stop.
Yeah, I think
to talk to J. Jonah.
And then J. Jonah's there, and she's like, I don't think I'd like the past is the past. I don't know if J. Jonah's going to want to get involved.
I think J. Jonah's probably had a piece of her in the past, too.
I think that they did date at one point, if I remember. So you end up where they're doing this. So and this is the thing that goes in the deal, and also Ricardo, obviously a kind of a newer boyfriend. That guy's got to learn to shut his mouth. Like the idea where if you're there and J. Jonah, you already read the room, Ricardo. Aunt May's mad. And then all of a sudden you end up where Ricardo is agreeing with J. Jonah. No banging tonight. No. It's done. You're sleeping on the couch, pal. But you have this play there when J. Jonah says, I think we need an intervention. He says, but he's off the grid, acting erratic. He's in trouble, and it's time to intervene. J. Jonah didn't say, I think he's on drugs. J. Jonah didn't say, I think. J. Jonah's saying that he might have, in my mind, he might have some mental issues. Something is wrong with him. An intervention doesn't have to be that everybody's in a room mad and yelling, you screwed up and you did this. An intervention in this part could be, please tell us what's wrong because you seem really upset. Can you please open up to us? And Aunt May just acts like this is the most ridiculous thing she's ever heard of. And I think this is one of the biggest bullshit things that Aunt May has ever done. I mean, the idea that he is acting erratic, yeah, you may say he does it a lot, but that's the problem. He does it a lot. She says he's always like this. Well, that's the problem, Aunt May. Mm-hmm. The problem is and it's getting worse and worse and worse. I mean, lo and behold, if this wasn't a comic book that we know he's Spider-Man and whatnot, he could be going to some really dark places. I'll tell you, like the idea where people just kind of push things aside that causes a lot of problems. She just like, he isn't broken, he's suffering. Yeah, that's why you do the intervention. The intervention of saying, what are you suffering from? What is bothering you? How can we help? You won't let us help because you always push us away. It's getting too dark. We need to help you. There's the intervention. She's like, he's just suffering. But she won't do anything. And then she explains what she'll do. She says, when Peter suffers, he pushes people away. Okay? Yeah. so you got to do something. But she doesn't. Then says, he's done this since childhood. It took on a new shape when Ben died. Peter keeps his secrets to protect me. If you're as close as you think you are, Jonah, maybe he's protecting you too. At one point, Jonah basically says, I think he tells me stuff that he doesn't want to tell you. I think it pissed her off. So in that, all J. Jonah came and said, he's acting erratic. I think it's real bad this time. We need to have an intervention. She starts talking. Nobody else is saying anything. Not a word. J. Jonah's listening to everything, scowling a bit. But also Ricardo, lucky him, he said, I can get a room or something for the intervention. I've done these before. But she ends up saying, both of you think I'm being naive or weak, but I'm not a doormat. I'm not a fool. I'm a mother. Well, then do something, Aunt May. Really, you're a mother, all right? Then says, sometimes that means suffering with my child at a distance until he's ready to share his burden. But you just said he's been doing this since Ben died. That is so long
which means
ago.
Since he became Spider-Man.
Yeah, and because she doesn't realize that, so it seems like something, but it's still, from her perspective, she's just let this go. And she goes, I'll intervene then, when he's ready to talk, with unconditional love, followed by a swift kick in the ass, then probably wheat cakes. I'm telling you, too. He don't like them wheat cakes. He's throwing them out the window. Nobody likes them. And says, made with more unconditional love. And so all that, they didn't say a word. And then she goes, now, if my position's made clear, why don't you mansplain to me what you know about real estate? First off, what is that line? Also,
It's probably a callback to something that we don't care about.
I'm telling you, if I'm J. Jonah, I'm saying right now, hey, listen, I think you just bitch-splained to me about all that other shit. I'm out of here. I'll do what I'm doing myself.
Leave.
Like, go to hell. She's now, she's making it seem that a concerned guy who came over and said, your nephew was in big trouble. And lo and behold, J. Jonah is the one who realizes this isn't Peter in a way of thinking it's Peter, but not acting like himself. He's doing this and all that. So the idea of her just, and in the back, there's Nick Lowe. Man, Aunt May told him. I'm like, no, that is complete and utter bullshit. It got me mad when I read it. And so, I wanted J. Jonah to be like, and plus your tea sucks. And leave from there. Or he starts sipping the tea like he's Kermit.
What I hope is that maybe like Ben goes to see her, as Peter, and then or he goes as Spider-Man and just tells her that, hey, listen, I'm Spider-Man. Ben reveals it.
I don't think it's happening. It'll never happen.
Peter comes back and he's like, what did you do?
Yeah, so then we'll do the Ben stuff real quick, because then that leads into the mushroom rooms. But Ben, at this point now, before he was just like, okay, I'll do this, but you didn't get as many problems with Ben. He seemed to be enjoying his time with Brian and Astrid and doing the mushroom deal. But then because you have to get to some tension and to get the, build up, now he's like, I'm kind of sick of being Peter. I'm always having to be Peter. I want to be me. And you ended up having Janine. Remember, Janine was the one who's like, you got to go see Aunt May. Like, he was barely doing anything. Anyway.
Yeah.
But he goes to work. And she's like, oh, you're doing this stuff at work and whatever. What it'll be is by the end, he's going to go and you see it. He's mad because Peter's going to get all the accolades and not him. Did you not think of that before? And the idea of all this.
We know Peter, he would work with him on credit and distribution of money and all that.
Here's the thing. When Peter comes back, legit, and this stuff, the way they're saying, which is, it's all going to fall. Something is going to go wrong. Brian has a weird thing, or that Astrid will, end up sabotaging. I don't know. But if there was $1 billion, I think Peter would probably give Ben more than half. I think that he would say, you did all the work. Thank you. Like, this would have fallen apart without you doing it. Also, when you have Peter in space, he really doesn't have the deal of sitting there and like, oh man, I'm worried about what are they doing back there? Because he has no idea. And so Ben ends up like, hey, I'm going to be Peter to take Peter's place. But then he thinks that Peter told Norman to be Spider-Man, but that wasn't really the case either. And then in the meantime, we got Black Cat running around. So they're doing this, and they end up where Brian stays up all night. He drinks a bunch of energy drinks. He has some awful dialogue, and they crack the code. They did it. It works. You see that Astrid lady kind of likes Peter, which we thought that before, which might be okay, but that's the problem.
She's ready to go back into the janitor's closet.
Oh, yeah. She's like, you're ready to go. Let's mushroom. Let me see your mushroom. So they're like, oh, we're going to get the patent application. We're going to do this. And that's when Peter ends up where she says, the name's Brian Nearing and Peter Parker and Bull will be remembered for changing world. It's like, fuck that.
Well, she was also kind of asking to be on the patent.
Yeah,
as well,
she's
too.
given the deal. I think that she actually should be at some little point because
of course.
She does give the joke. It is that crazy deal, like, oh, so you're gonna put me on it, and then like, oh man, oh yeah, I was joking. Oh, you bitch. She's gonna end up doing something. So Ben's mad. At the end, it looks like he might be. All he's doing is changing a document. He's like putting his name. Somebody's gonna come in and go, oh, what happened? Somebody accidentally put this asshole's name on it, and they'll just change it back. But in the
does anybody named Ben Riley work here? No, change it back to Peter Parker.
Ben Riley? You pranking me again?
Yeah.
Oh, that Brian must have been on that hopped up on goofballs again. Like he runs off to go. He says he's going into a closet. I don't think he's crying in there, but he's going up. Also, the art. Brian, he's now lost like 50 more pounds. Like sometimes he's dumpy, now he's like skinny.
I like
as
the
hell.
dumpy version better.
Yeah, I do too. This version looks like I don't know. He looks odd. What he looks like. He's too skinny. He looks like a guy who did take a Ozempic.
Yeah,
like
he's
lost
Ozempic
too much
body right now.
Yeah, that's what he's got. It's a really, and he looks like that Hader guy. What's that?
Bill Hader?
Yeah, he looks like Bill Hader at points. I'm like, I like Bill Hader, but not as Brian Neeren. So you have that. Then you have Norman. Norman's going out to be Spider-Man stuff. He's saving people. There's a lot. Here's the thing. Maybe we do need mushroom buildings and things because a lot of times in the Spider-Man book, they're always saving people at construction sites almost dying. I don't think OSHA or anybody's involved in New York City, and they have problems. So you have all that. You got to go check the unions. I don't think they're looking into things.
I mean, we get forced back into the office more, and I got this. We're on the 32nd floor now. You look out, dude. You look out from that view, and there are people all over the tops of roofs doing construction stuff all day long. They stand just right on the top of it.
Yeah. And in this,
stuff like
616, people dying. He saves somebody. Remember, what was that guy who Peter saved, but then he died again? In that stupid, I think, wasn't that the 9 deaths? That guy, I can't remember his name, like
the
Chad
guy falling
or
from the
something.
ceiling, yeah.
Yeah, but then he died later. Remember they had the deal? But yeah, so Spider-Man saving people, and that's when you get Tombstone shows up with this Plague RX guy, and they barely explain things with this, but Tombstone's like, why are you acting different? You know how we do things. Things shouldn't be this way. Norman, in the meantime, is thinking to himself, oh, shit, like, I'm trying to be Peter. I know that him and Tombstone, they have a quote-unquote relationship, but I don't know. He actually seems like he really cares. And, Tombstone says it's good, bad for business, but bad for the neighborhood, what you're doing. Norman gets a bit triggered because you're trying...
What does that mean, exactly?
This is the thing with Joe Kelly, is trying to get the idea that Peter being upset about Hellgate and going off, Norman has his own Hellgate, which was his father. Even though it looks like I never would have thought his father would have had a tattoo like that, but he ends up, I guess maybe he does, but he beats him with a belt. So that's like his Hellgate that he never got over. It kind of triggers him, but then Tombstone's like, I see you this whole time. You want to punch me. And then realizes, oh shit, you're not Spider-Man. You aren't Spider-Man.
How does he realize that?
I don't know. He just looks. He's like, hey, it's the gauntlets, maybe. I don't know. But he's like,
he's a little more husky, too.
Get him there, RX.
Sick of boys.
Plague RX goes, yeah, sick of boys. And then I swear to God, in the art, I didn't think that, I guess it's touching him at all, but then you don't really have to gear up for a punch. But this Plague RX, I thought that, oh man, Norman stopped him. He grabbed his fist, but then all of a sudden he reels back, also makes it look like Plague RX is like, what the hell? And we find out that this guy's power is to get everybody's injuries and absorb them and then take them back at you, and it doesn't really make much sense.
So he throws a left hook at Spider-Man, he blocks it with a thwop, right? And then he hits him with a right hook?
I don't know, because it doesn't look like he did it.
So he doesn't even punch him?
That. I think it might be just touching this guy, but also he's wrapped in bandages, so wouldn't that stop it? The thing is, we'll never know, because Tombstone goes, this is his power, don't ask me anything about it. I don't understand. When you have that, when you have in a book where somebody legit says, I'm not a scientist, so don't ask me how it works, it means it will never work. You just go with it. And it kind of was like, really? I hate when they do that. Like, I'm no scientist, so don't ask me how it works. I'm like, okay, well, I know you're not a scientist, but still, you have this guy, maybe ask him.
Well, I'm just mad because on the cover it shows him kicking Spider-Man's ass with a stethoscope.
Yeah,
and in this, I don't see him doing anything.
Would have been
with
funny if he did like really odd, like doctor moves. Like he's like, okay, now cough, and then he grabs him by the balls, and like shit like that. And he's like, looks like you need a colonostomy, and then he goes.
He's got that little hammer, and he's tapping his knee.
Damn right, yes, but it's like a huge hammer that's crushing his knee. That's what I need. And then he's putting on the gloves. This way, you might feel a little pressure.
What is this character, man?
I don't know. It's not good. Why does he have a stethoscope?
Why is he all wrapped up? And he seems like he's in pain or something.
Well, because he absorbs all the pain to then throw it back. But it's the classic of that kinetic energy that you'll have where some villain or hero will be able to absorb and then come back double at it. You know, we've
like
had
Bishop or something.
We've had it a million times like that.
Yeah.
This is supposed to be more clever because it's like, oh, we can get injuries, but it makes no damn sense. This guy's, I think he's just cosplaying as a doctor because of this deal, but he's got the stethoscope. That would have been good. He's like wrapping it around him, right? And then he's like, and then he's just like, open up and say, and then he punches him like shit like that. Be awesome. That'd be pretty cool. Well, there is a funny progression though, but you don't have enough of it. It would have been better animated because while Norman, Spider-Man, is reeling from this, Tombstone is just over there rolling up his sleeves. Oh, that's pretty funny. And then he starts beating the shit out of Norman. He ends up ridiculously punching the gauntlet.
And that's what breaks his wrist?
And he goes, how? Well, how? I mean, you hit a gauntlet, so either you realize that you hit something that should do this, but you see the webbing shit come out, whatever. It doesn't make much sense of how it's presented. Like it's almost like supposed to be like, oh my God, what did Norman do? But no, we see him punch it, and I don't know why that breaks his wrist.
I don't think it would.
I told you I broke my wrist. I freaking fell, and just like landed on it without trying to brace it, and it snapped. But this is weird. He just hits the gauntlet, and it's Tombstone. So it's not anything like that.
He's got
crazy
super
that
strength, I guess.
Yeah, and you know what I mean? But
durability.
He can take a damage. Like this seems odd. And then you have Norman go to town. But this is the problem: is when you have this, you really should be stressing. And what should have happened in my mind again? And we really don't script doctor a lot on this book because it's just as bad, whatever. But you should have had Tombstone say, "All right, we're going to have to fight." And while they're fighting, he should realize that it's not Peter. And that it's not the regular Spider-Man because of how he's fighting, and that Norman's going a little over the top, or he has a different fighting style, or whatever the thing, because they have fought. Tombstone and Peter have fought, numerous times. But just have him squint and go, "You're not the real one," then go to fight him, and then have this Plagar Rex that we're going to give you all the shit you gave to Shockers. We're going to give you back. I'm like, well, what does that mean? And also, I think it might kill Norman. Like, it's Norman. This isn't Peter. This is Norman. He just got the back of what put Shocker and a bunch of the Shockers like in traction. And there he is. He's all bloodied up, and it just looks goofy. I mean, what does it look like? Like the suit is fraying. It's not like ripping. It's fraying a bit. And the blood looks like, I don't even know how to explain it. It's not. It's like paint, but not. I don't know.
Mud.
And yeah. It's weird.
And then he jumps off the building and tells the doctor to save him. Like, that guy's not a real doctor necessarily. I don't know.
Yeah. The guy's like, the stethoscope, which seems to be gone in that panel. It's like, I ain't a real doctor. Like, I play one in a comic book, but I ain't a real doctor. Also, because of the blood, then when he jumps off the building, he looks like Deadpool. And also with the art earlier when Tombstone was working out, he should stop because he was melding. But yeah, the whole play is this, over narration of, Peter this and Peter did that and I did this. Also, there's like, they get very literary with the doctor, I guess because he realizes he has a PhD in villainy doctoring, of plague doctoring, because he's like, Norman goes, is this supposed to be Commedia del Idiot? And then the doctor more like Mask of the Red Death. I'm like, this isn't good. It's so bad.
What is that? I forgot about that.
It's just so stupid. The dialogue is bad. Nothing of this. It just is, twiddling your thumbs until Peter gets back. But what does it matter? Because Joe Kelly writing it, it's bad. And I talked to a bunch of people, and I swear to God, people arguing with me about how this is so great and this is awesome. Don't fool yourself that this is it. I don't even know that it's that much better than Zeb Wells. But if it is, don't fool yourself just because it's better than one of the worst runs we've had. Just don't think that, because that run was a 2 and this is a 4, that doesn't mean it's good. It means it's better than bullshit. But at the end, there's Ben just staring at the computer. Like the minute that he changes it like this, like, he's like, but I'm Ben Riley. He gets arrested, right? I mean, he's doing weird shit, but to be continued. And luckily, we go back and I guess, next issue we're back in space, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to find
based
usually
on the cover,
the cover. So we go back, and so what happens with me is you really get nothing here to then have to wait a bit to get back to nothing, and it's a slog. And the space stuff didn't really make much lick of sense last time either. So
it's better than this, though.
Yeah, it is. Well, because it's Peter, and you're just waiting for him to get back to Earth. Listen to Rocket in that. Rick, remember Rocket kept saying, just go back to Earth. And there it is. He's like, here's Nick Lowe. He's like, last issue column was written on the subway, and this one in bed. I'm like, what are you trying to be sexy? We're in full pre-New York Comic Con deal. And he's like, and what happened there? Holy crap. He goes, this is tight. I'm like, no, it isn't. It's
pre-New York. That's like 2 months ago, dude.
Yeah, because they end up
still don't
like
mention
3
it.
Months
then.
ahead. Yeah, it's
don't
a weird
mention
thing.
it.
And then he's like, when I got the Aunt, he's like, man, the 1-2 punch of Aunt May scene followed by the Tombstone scene set me reeling at every stage of production in this elite issue. No, you're not fooling.
What is he doing? True Social posts with all these capitalizations.
Yeah, that's what he's doing. He's doing all these things. Again, the guy's even worse at social media anyway. So he's like, and what did Ben just do? So much tension. I love stories. And I'm like, what tension? Like, what would have, tell me, Nick Lowe, the tension of, oh my God, he put Ben Riley. What's that going to do? What is that going to do? Basically, it might throw everything out the window and everybody then hates Ben, but then what does that do? Nothing. So get out of here. What would you give this?
This one just is a 5.
I
don't know.
I'm a 4.
Yeah.
I just didn't like it.
I don't know. I just don't know why it exists.
This one person wrote in, that they're full of shit. They're like, that 8 deaths of Spider-Man was great. I always call it, I've been like 7 deaths. I can't even remember. 9 deaths. But yeah, and he's like, we got a more emotional warfare to wage on you. Oh, great.
I don't want emotional warfare.
Yeah,
I just
he's
want
like,
a good
Joe Kelly
comic.
excels in capitals at such heart-wrenching thing. No, he doesn't. Nobody cares. Oh, we forgot one little thing, too. Dr. Ohm wants to talk to Norman and reveals that all the stuff that she's been having problems with is she has a sick kid that's going to die. But we don't know the kid. We barely know her. What do you care? What do you care? And it looks like Norman and her might get sexy with each other.
He's going to want something for his efforts, just put it that way.
Yeah. He's like, what would Peter do? That's what he would do. He'll convince himself that's what
he's
Peter
acting
would do.
like a nice guy now, but he's going to want something in return.
But again, he's like, hey, what's up? And she says, but then he gets called away as Spider-Man. And then he says, oh, man, this must be like the crazy things that Spider-Man. I don't know how Peter dealt with it. Dude, you were the Green Goblin. There were you just were the Green Goblin and completely destroyed your whole personal life and everything. But you don't understand what Peter had to do when he'd have to go off to be Spider-Man. But yeah.
And then in this, it talks about Harry being dead. Is Harry still dead? I don't remember.
He's still dead.
All right.
Yeah, he
I thought he
kind of came back at that one point.
They brought him back. They killed him, brought him back again, and
remember the Nick Spencer stuff
way
at
back
the end
then.
Of that with the deal where he was what was it, Kindred or whatever that crazy deal was with that villain. Can't remember what the hell they were. That thing went on forever. But,
I thought they were like the fake kids of Gwen Stacy.
No, that was when they were there too, but they weren't real, and that's what ended that. When everybody thought one more day was going to end, but it was actually Sins of the Past, which is good because that was disgusting as well. But so that's 4. But you do have Dr. Ohm here, who really has done nothing at all at the what was it, Rand Industries.
She'll take all the credit.
Yeah, she will. Well, we'll be going off to do a little DC now, where we have a company that just seems to have an open door policy. That's the worst one I've ever seen. So that this Rand Corporation with Dr. Ohm is like, they're really fancy compared to that one. But we'll be talking about that in a minute. But that is it for me and you. I'm not going to hit the ending thing just in case I come back. If not, we'll hear that. But I think I'll try to do a little bit of a a review for a couple other books. But thanks for joining me, Matt. Thanks, everybody, so far. And I will get on to that right about now. And we are back. Not just me. I didn't do any of those other issues, Matt. And in fact, I started trying to. And I did like 5 or 6 attempts at, I think it was Punisher. And I gave up. I can't record by myself.
You gave it the old college try.
I tried. There's been points in the past where I'm on like attempt number 50, where I'll go. And that's the problem. When I do something like that, I don't just stop and then continue and edit. I have to do it all at one fell swoop through, and it would drive me nuts. One of the reasons I stopped doing YouTube videos, I just couldn't take it anymore because it would just drive me insane. I remember at one point, it got so bad that Tanya heard me yelling and screaming at it. Not this time, but before, and she had to write notes to me to calm down because I was losing it. But it happened. I started, and then I just got to a point where I'd say something right. I should just keep going, but because of that, and me continuing to attempt to do it, we now have morphed into the next week. So what we're going to do is combine what we started with Amazing Spider-Man to what happened this week as you're listening to it, which would be the Infernal Hulk. I'd like to, well, it's not even a joke. I think that we may at times have to do this to be able to get more than one issue on the
It's not a bad idea, yeah.
You know, just wait. It's almost like we'll just have them waiting in the wings until we get enough. And it's like a bank account. We're taking the withdrawal. It is the Infernal Hulk. And this was one of the ones that I was actually shocked. I thought that Gray would continue doing this. It's not that he loved the Hulk, but we had been doing that.
Yeah.
Maybe if, say, Daredevil, even though people love to hate Saladin Ahmed's run, we might have continued, but he's not interested in that. Stephanie Phillips, I'm sure we'll end up doing the first issue of that. But yeah, so we have Infernal Hulk. And first off, if you didn't read any of Philip Kennedy Johnson's Hulk, which was 30 issues, and again, I mentioned the guy Saladin Ahmed, that people ended up losing their mind. Oh my God, he had one arc that was 19 issues. Legit, in my mind, this Hulk was 30 issues of one arc.
Yeah, 30.
And a lot of those issues didn't mean diddly or squat.
No, I stopped reading maybe at issue 15 to 20.
I'll tell you.
I didn't miss anything.
I saw so many people reviewing this, and it ended up where it kind of justified some things I had been saying about I don't think that many people are reading it anymore. But a lot of people, it seemed that I would like to go back and see what it is. It makes sense because Marvel usually does have 5-issue arcs. And so many people dropped it at 10. Mm-hmm. 10 kept coming up. 10 issues. And I'm like, man, I got to go see what happened there. But in the meantime, they were worried that they would. This is the thing this is exactly how I can explain it. People who drop, like you said, people who drop the book at 10 issues, they wanted to read this, but were worried that they would be left behind because they missed 20 issues and were relieved that they missed nothing. But yet it's the same creative team. And why do you think they're not going to do the same thing again? And we're going to review each issue as long as we do the book as each issue comes. I'm not saying that I've already predetermined, but to me, if I go into something and I say, like you said, I missed 15 issues, man, this is awesome. This is great because I guess I didn't miss anything. The red flag has to go up that this creative team meandered for all those issues, that it feels like you missed nothing because nobody really did. It ended up at the end when me and Greg got to the end. I legit was like, that's it? We spent the whole time trying to get to the Mother of Monsters. Oh, the Mother of Monsters. Find out she's been dead forever. And then the eldest just goes, zippity zoo. Banner, you're out. It's just Hulk, but I'm controlling him to go off. And then in my mind, and people are going to get angry because I think that people want to like books like this. I think Philip Kennedy Johnson is a very likable guy. I don't think this is great. I think it looks fantastic, but it didn't make me feel like, oh, thank God this isn't going to be like of course it's going to be like what we just did. It continues the story. It just gives you a new number one. It's the same creative team. And in the back, you still have that nonsense prose. I don't know who this prose guy is. I want to punch him in the face.
Do you think the end goal of the first 30 issues was just to get to this? Like,
yeah,
my
he worked
whole
with
thing. Nick Klein on what it looks like.
And I see this one guy on League of Comic Geeks had the thing of like, hey, and nobody would help. I hate when people legit have a question. This happened this week on Twitter about some political thing where somebody legit just said, can somebody please explain what's going on here? Because I don't understand it. And people are going, look at the jerk off. And they're like making fun of him. Some person in a League of Comic Geeks where everybody wants to get involved in everything. This poor person just says, can somebody let me know if I really have to read all 30 issues? Or could I jump into this as a new number one? And they just were making fun of him. They're just like, oh, what are you, lazy? Like, just answer the question.
30 issues is a lot to read, man.
Yeah, and money-wise, you know, like, so I end up saying, listen, no, you really don't. Because, excuse me, how I explained it was, at one point, the last run just became the ticket into this. It just ended up being, okay, well, let's not tell an actual story that ends. Well, just so, why not just so? All you have to know is that Banner isn't in Hulk. We see that in the issue. It should have been spelled out a little better, I thought. But and that the eldest
he was ripped out of him, which is why I guess it's split open.
Yeah, and then you have the eldest kind of controlling Hulk. So what I laughed at though is it's the Hulk, but it's not quite the Hulk.
It's not really the Hulk,
right?
No, it's the eldest.
And so my biggest problem in the last run was that you didn't get a lot of Hulk. You got a lot of the girl. You get a lot of other things, but it really became less
Ghost Rider,
like stuff like that, and Elda, like, so you end up in this where people are like, finally we get some hope, but it's not. And then you introduce what I think is going to end up being a character. I hope that this guy, like Reiner or whatever he is, this military guy, I hope that he's not a recurring character, because he will then become the main character.
He's going to be. I mean, he's totally set up that way.
And that's what happens. And Charlie. I couldn't remember the girl's name.
Yeah, and this guy's Bridger.
And this is what I that drove me nuts about Charlie. It was all about Charlie, right? They should have named the whole 30 issues something about Charlie, is what it would be. Until it wasn't. She completely disappeared. You didn't know what happened, and now we're here, and I still don't know.
Well, didn't she become a doll or something?
She at one point she did. Then she got infected with werewolf stuff and then flew off. She ended up saying, we're not monsters, flew off. I don't know what the hell happened to her. But yeah, you have this town that is going to have where Hulk is showing up. And I'll give you did I give the credits? I don't think I did.
So.
Written by Philip Kennedy Johnson, art by Nick Klein, colors by Matthew Wilson, BC's Corey Petit on letters. And I guess I said I would read this intro. So you're coming in, if you're coming into a new number one, you're like, oh man, I love this Hulk. I love the Hulk. I haven't read the Hulk in a bit. I was in a coma for the first 30 issues of Philip Kennedy Johnson's run. Let's see what's going on with Hulk, right? You like the Hulk. So here it is. For aeons, untold, the mother of horrors was imprisoned in a pocket dimension, locked behind a gate. None but the one below all could open. Using Hulk as their vet. So right away, like you're not even mentioning the Hulk right away. And then when you do, you see that he's just a tool to the mother of horrors, and I kept saying monsters. Using Hulk as their vessel, the being known as Eldest finally opened her mother's prison, but found her withered, mindless, and broken. I thought it was dead. Eldest consumed their mother's flesh, imbuing Hulk's body with the primordial seed of corruption that once created the great ones of old. As the Infernal Hulk rises, a new age of Earth begins, the age of monsters. That says, it really tells me about the Hulk. It's the eldest. It's going to be Banner, obviously, but it's like, it's not even like resetting in the idea of, I think the thing that got away from Philip Kennedy Johnson was the Hulk. You had a lot of other characters being more important. Everything did run through Charlie. Wherever they went, whatever they did was through Charlie. You would almost expect that you could have had, hey, we'll rip the Banner out, so then Hulk could just be Hulk, but no, he's eldest, and it just throws me.
Yeah, I mean, it would be, we've had Hulk separated from Banner before, but this is the first time it's been another entity controlling him.
It just
I guess
up
is interesting.
I guess, but I don't know. Philip Kennedy Johnson gets caught up in a lot of odd things, and
it's basically a Frankenstein that just kills people now.
Yeah, and people spelled it out. Again, on League of Comic Geeks completely. It's now, I mean, Hulk is kind of a horror comic, and he is, at points, he was reaching through the Immortal Hulk stuff. And so I get it, but it's just not my thing. And you have this town, Red Creek, Kentucky, and there's some construction. They're talking about Pedialyte. Do you know what Pedialyte is?
Of course, yeah.
I figured that maybe because you didn't have kids.
Well, people also drink it. Regular people
drink it. That's the joke of it, that it's supposed to be like people wouldn't know what that is without kids. But
electrolytes, I guess?
Yeah, that's all it is. It's for little kids and whatever to get their electrolytes.
This guy looks like he needs to go to parenting class or something. I don't know.
No, this guy needs to go to rehab. That's what it looks like. But he ends up in the idea. It makes me laugh because I swear to God, when we had kids in town, he's like, we got to get Peter. I'm like, can we just get Gatorade? It's a lot cheaper. It's got to be the same shit.
I just can't imagine anybody choosing this guy as a mate. Like, he just seems like such a bum.
Well, look at this guy. He's like, I don't know what the fuck it is. He looks like an older Shaggy.
He's bad news.
And he's like, well, where the hell is fucking Scooby-Doo? And then they hear this big boom. They hear this big booming, actually, and it's the Hulk coming. And the army's called in. And it's weird because this is a setup of this guy, but you end up where, okay, then we go to the now, and they have the full army in. I was expecting Ross to be there screaming and yelling.
This guy's a construction worker, right? You see him hanging out. Man. And then all of a sudden he's like fully involved in the military.
Yeah, I guess it's part of the reserves, I guess.
This guy's like in charge, though. It's weird.
That's
what's going on.
The weird thing I have here, though.
No helmet on.
And the dialogue. It's just, it really, I don't know. I think it's real basic. The way that it's like, man, you were that hero. Listen, son, when you gotta go to war, there ain't no heroes. But they said that you killed everybody, sir. That's what I'm talking about. You kill him. It's very cliche. It's over the top cliche. And he's like, listen, I'm going to make sure that you don't get hurt. Meanwhile, when Hulk comes in, he's Hulk slapping people's brains out. He's grabbing people and swishing them. This guy ain't stopping anything.
No, this guy's toast.
So they have to mention, though, in this, the idea, man, you killed so many people. You killed so many people, to then tie into him being a monster that then the eldest can control because she senses this crazy sounding nonsense. I'm telling you, the names that pop up in this, infuriating. But you end up where Hulk comes in. It looks great. He comes in and they're yelling their stuff. I'm telling you, here it is. It's like, hey, here we go. And the one guy, like you said, no helmet. Looks like I don't even think he has. I think he just jumped out of that fucking pickup truck.
He looks like he's still wearing his overalls.
He does. He still has his overalls. They just gave him a gun. I think they're like, who the hell's this guy? And he's like, hey, we're giving the town time to clear, kid. That's the job. And we're doing it good. Oh, yes, sir, Mr. Bridger. Holy crap, you're David Bridger? Captain Davis said you were a legit war hero. There ain't no heroes in war. So, like, it's so over the top.
It's not like the military here in this action would be local people from Kentucky. They would just be military guys.
I guess they're just claiming that, but
how would they know this, dude?
I don't know any of the people. Now, again, I'm not a military guy, so I thank all of them in this for their service. But I don't know if there was something downtown Quakertown. They're like, oh my God, get the reserves. And these guys are flying in helicopters and tanks. I don't think there is a tank in Quakertown here ready on the wait, but they have the full out deal. And they're like, you're a hero. And he goes, that's not how I remember it. Well, he said you were a crazy good shot at least and that you killed an ass load of people. What's your name? And then you get through all this thing. And he's like, nobody in combat's a hero. Everyone's just trying not to get killed. The good ones help their buddies. I'm like, get the fuck out of here.
Well, I know
what it is. It just ends up being like, okay. And people will argue. Philip Kennedy Johnson, he's in the military. He knows the deal. Again, I was gonna say I'm not gonna disparage anyone, but he is in the band. You know what I'm saying?
He is in the military band. Yeah.
He's in the military band, but he is a military guy, so I can't say anything. But it's cliche as hell.
He's like, "What's your name, Dorsey, sir?"
No,
what's your real name?
Tape. What's your name?
Name tape.
He's like, go
Travis?
fuck yourself. Listen here, go fuck yourself.
This old head's like putting his hand on his shoulder and stuff.
Yeah.
It's a little too much.
Yeah, he's like, D's what? D's nuts, asshole. And then and the one guy's just sitting there going, this isn't the real Hulk. The real Hulk will show up and save us. The real Hulk will say, no, the real Hulk ain't saving you. But yeah, and
why do you keep saying that? That was weird. The real Hulk's coming.
Weird. And I'm gonna get yelled at because I yelled about the army band. The end up where they're like, okay, and he's like, I'm not gonna let anything happen to you. That guy is a liar. The Hulk is coming, please. But yeah, the Hulk just comes down, the Infernal Hulk, and just destroys everything. I mean, he comes down and pretty much kills half of them as he lands destroys all the equipment, all this stuff. Get the fuck out. I'd be running. Right
he does the Hulk clap thing and just disintegrates a guy's brain.
Disintegrates his brain. Yeah, he just goes
doesn't even touch him.
He claps this guy's brains out.
Mm-hmm.
right? Then he says, "There's no, yeah, hey, and they're yelling about Banner, and he's like, there ain't no Banner here." And then he says, nothing. Nothing at all. I'm going to just destroy you. And then just does. I mean, the art is great. You end up having what looks
so
like,
good.
If you were really fucked up in the head, maybe you could use that as a blacklight poster. Like if your kid has that as you better call somebody. Like the destruction that's going on. But yeah, he jumps up, grabs the helicopter, swings it around, and throws it into the tank. Everybody's just getting destroyed, blown up. At that point, the tank kind of shifts and blows up a bunch of other people. I mean, shit has gone wrong, but it looks great. Like, that's the thing. You can't give this book a horrible score because it looks so cool.
I can't even imagine being Nick Klein and trying to visualize how to do all this stuff.
Yeah, it's great. And then they're, shooting Hulk, but he's getting indents from it, but it's okay. Then he grabs one guy and just squishes him. Then he's there, and you do end up having this Bridger. He did try to help the guy that he said, but he's also got this, I thought it was, I guess it's
barbed wire, but where does that come from?
I don't know, and it seems like it's like a mystical type thing. Then I thought that it was actually going to be spelled out later. We'll see. I kind of think this barbed wire is made by razored up name tags of the people he killed. That's all I got, because Philip Kennedy Johnson, dog tags. Philip Kennedy Johnson does some fucked up. Yeah, I'm like, I think that's what it's going to be. And then, lo and behold, to me, it feels like a military version of Ghost Rider already. That's what it reminds me of. But he ends up recognizing, you belong with us, and says, I see Ginny DeGaulle, the War Devil. I'm like, you mean Ginny from the block? I ain't that person. It's like behind your eyes. You little mortal belong with us. And then it seems as if he creates the barbed wire around him.
Because Bridger's wearing that as part of his costume later, the barbed wire. So.
Yeah, so
then he squishes. Travis is dead, right? That's him?
Yeah, and poor Travis, he's like, hey, and he's like, and this one as well. And then is this a Lenny moment where he picks up the rabbit? Yes. He's like, this guy, oh no. I love the idea that Infernal Hulk / Eldest is like, oh shit, that didn't work. But then starts changing him into a monstrosity, which then
he's dead, but not
Travis
dead.
is like, help me. You said you'd help me. And you get the idea that he ends up putting him out of his mercy. But then we see him later anyway.
Yeah, he shoots him with a shotgun or rifle or whatever.
Yeah, he kind of tries to take him out to just put him out of his mercy.
But it doesn't.
I guess at the end, like, if that did the job, you can maybe convince yourself, yep, I told him I had his back. No, you didn't.
You let him down.
And then he's in hell anyway. So it didn't really matter. But you end up where you'll get a little bit of recap from I summon the living city of Gola Galthea. I'm like, oh, here we go. And you get this.
He can't help himself with this stuff.
I know.
This lore. He loves
this lore. He can't.
And he's coming to Marvel exclusively with all of his lore. And so he's taking it all with him.
And right now, you can't picture the smile I have on my face because legit, the books that he ends up doing at DC, we kind of have forced ourselves to have to do them. Marvel, I can skip it. So you end up where you make Golgotha the city, and then and it reminds me of that stupid shit that Jed McKay was doing in that Avengers that nonsense, the missing city. So you end up where they're like, he's yelling, once I summon you to the bright towers of Kineva, I now raise you from mountain tomb of Ujuru. I'm like, Jesus Christ. And then says, the mother of Horrors is dead. Her eldest lives, obey me. And then I'm like, oh my God. Really? Like, this is what people were waiting for? And then you end up, Cthulhu tentacle porn. And then it makes some crazy ass buildings and stuff. And you have this Bridger fall down in it. He sees that other guy. And then I'm thinking, please, by the end, please have all these soldiers grab him and shove him away like it was in the movie Ghost. Because I'm thinking, okay, they're going to destroy. No, it looks like he's going to be part of it, I guess. I just hope that he doesn't become the major focus.
He's got that big jacked up right arm, too.
Yeah, look at him. It's weird.
He's just a zombie, basically.
Yeah. Man, but he's got that war devil in him, right? And then when you're looking, it's like, okay, we got eyeball building. Then you go to the right, and I'm like, I think that is an asshole. But it looks like a Puckeye building. It's what it is, right?
It is, yeah.
And then I don't want to stay in that building. They're like, which one? Oh, you're in the balloon knot section. I'm like, oh shit. But all these guys are coming, and this guy's going to lead this army of undead, I guess is what it is. Also, though, in the far bin, like you have that big giant, what ends up being that tower that Hulk goes into, but the actual doorway kind of looks goofy. It looks like a mad ball or something, right? It looks like a little guy with a beard.
Didn't he do all this zombie stuff in that miniseries that we read with Bucky and everything? Wasn't that Philip Kennedy Johnson?
The Hell Hunters.
This seems a lot like that.
Yeah, it does. It does.
Oh, man.
And that fizzled out by the end, too. Bucky's collected here.
The zombie, military, Nazis, whatever they were. I don't know.
Yeah. So then again, when you're like, okay, well, the Hulk destroyed some things, right? Made this stupid city. And now at the end, it does seem like the focus, though, is the horror of this Bridger and how he's now. I'm like, I don't care, especially a first issue. Just give me Hulk and give me some more stuff. But they're all lining up for the deal. Bridger, come down. You said you look out for us, Bridger. Remember, you promised. I'm like, come on, eat him and take him away. There's that guy who probably got his head demolished, the guy with the open skull. And then he's like gathering up his wits. Hulk's smiling like he's taking a selfie. And then he just sits on his throne, which might be a bathroom, might be a toilet. And then ends up, rise, and you have these Cthulhu things. Whatever.
But then you get the Avengers and the Fantastic Four are all worried about.
You go and have that where they're announcing, "Hey, the Hulk. It doesn't look like the same. We're trying to figure it out." I love I love how they all look at attention. Like you're watching what appears to be like a thing. Like, hey, the Hulk's destroying shit again. Spider-Man's looking at it upside down like he's 2 years old.
First of all, he's sitting on, look at that.
Yeah,
they're on a
that
rooftop
thing is
somewhere.
Disgusting. Yeah, they're
Captain
in a New York
America's sitting
rooftop.
on it?
Man, he's just sitting on this
Look at
thing.
that TV they're watching.
Yeah, really. Look at that thing.
Jesus.
I'm telling you, that you sit on that couch, you got hepatitis.
Why would Captain America ever do that?
Right?
He would never sit there with Spider-Man on the rooftop like that.
I don't know. It was fine. Vision looks pissed. Look at him. But yeah, it's just.
Is this the
weird.
current Avengers team? I don't even know. We got to ask Ruben about that.
Yeah, Ruben.
He's the only one. I
hear Ruben. I don't have the Ruben sound effect. But yeah, so they're Cap and Spider-Man on a shitty couch. That might be the most horrific thing in this issue.
I know.
And then they're like, we need somebody else. And it does look like Banner's there watching this, and he's trying to like fit in somewhere. I don't even know what the deal is. We'll see. We shall see.
Can we go back to what was the one we liked? The Donnie Kate? What's the one where we liked where we the personalities are separated and all that stuff? That was cool. And then they had the Starship Hulk. That was horrible.
That was ridiculous.
Oh my god! Anything's better than that, but still, jeez.
Yeah. That Donnie, that Starship ship.
Yeah, was it Donnie Cates?
Yeah, that was the Starship.
The Chip Zdarsky was the one we liked. I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't even remember, but I know what you're talking about. But yeah, so. You have this bullshit going on. And then it says next, Atlantis and the Age of Monsters. I'm like,
that looks cool. I mean, I don't know.
Doesn't seem like that has a lot to do with the Hulk, but there you go. Hulk's down there punching things.
Swimming around like a jerk.
And at the end, you have the remembrances of Eldis, Golgotha, the living city. And you have this thing, I always laugh and say, I don't read this shit, which I usually don't. Because, again, I'm here to read the comics. It's not that I can't read, but whatever. I did try to read this. It's insufferable. I think that basically, Reggie, I'll go back to Reggie's deal. People write comics because they can't write novels. Nobody's knocking on the door in my mind to get Philip Kennedy Johnson to write any of this shit as a novel.
Do it too.
Yeah, and it's bad. I mean, there's one, I was going to, I still could, but I was going to read like just one of the paragraphs. So I was kind of going through it and I was like, which one's the worst? And they're all bad because he keeps repeating these names way too much that it ends up really sticking out that he's doing it. And it's a really poor way of writing. But I'll just randomly, the ones, this is the one that I was reading that drove me nuts and I was just, I'm done. When the Demo Gorge had gone and night had fallen, the Volantine energized from their tunnels and found their city destroyed. But the Mother of Horrors had commanded Golgotha to protect his kind, and death did not free Golgotha from her command, as Golgotha's blood
just supposed to say
into
she
the
or
soil
he.
and stone. Yeah, you can't keep repeating.
You can't
I know
repeat
what
a
I
name.
think he wants to think that he's getting the name ingrained in you, but as you keep saying it, it just is eye
You say
roll.
it once and that's it.
Yeah. And fallen structures, new towers of flesh and sinew rose from the earth to replace the old. By Golgotha's sacrifice, had the Voltine survived the great culling, and his flesh became their living sanctuary. Like, what the hell did I just read? I know Golgotha. It was said like 7 times. It's so
It's like
bad.
a fake Tolkien. Like, it's just,
yeah.
we don't need that. I don't know.
He did that. It was called Last God. Ben, that's what he wants to do. He wants to do his fantasy. I'm telling you, I'm just looking, and each paragraph seems to say Golgotha at least 3 times.
Yeah, it's in there. I'm scanning.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying?
If
you count it, it's got to be in the 20s. How many times he just keeps repeating instead of actually writing it in a way. And I'm guessing that when you are editing a comic, you're not quite the editor for, Random House that does book editing. So they're just like, we'll let him do what the fuck he wants. I don't think there's somebody who's there that can be like, well, actually, you got to do this. I think it's beyond them as well. So you end up where they just go, whatever, write whatever you want. That's your thing. It's not, to me, it plays out like it's like junior high. It really does. It's writing your D&D campaign. Hopefully you had somebody to play it with, unlike me. I would just write this shit up and we'll never play it. But at the end, the art's great. So my score it's pretty much 99.9% art. It really is. There's not much story. And again, it's a first issue, so I can't expect to have that much. But there's really not a lot. And what there is, it just kind of points to the stuff that I didn't like from the first 30 issues. We got a new start, but what would I expect? It's the same creative team. And just remember, somebody, I don't know if this is the actual math, but somebody said that they counted and it was like 15 of the 30 or 16 of the 30 issues Nick Klein was on of the 30. So he was
over half.
So you can only expect the same again. And so if he wasn't doing this issue, I think the whole issue falls apart. So what happens when he does go off and they get, say, Danny Earls again or whoever?
No, Nick Klein 100% is the draw of this book.
Yeah.
I mean, he's selling the issues.
Yeah.
When he falls off, that's it.
There were month after month reviewing it saying, man, I wish Nick Klein was on the book. Man, I wish Nick Klein was on the book.
Yeah, because it might as well be Nick Klein first on the credits.
Yeah. And then when Nick Klein would come back, oh man, that was so much better, but it's still the same kind of story. It's just you need that part.
It's like when you go to read the Transformers with what's his name? The other guy with 3 names.
Daniel Warren Johnson.
You want him. When he goes off, you don't want to buy it anymore.
Or it would be like a book you're reading and Dan Moore is on art, and then they switch it up to Riley Rossmo.
No, not
I didn't
acceptable.
sign up for that shit.
No.
That's the problem. It is like that. It's like, I didn't sign up for this. I
didn't sign up for it.
I came in for that. And you get that sometimes you'll have like a issue or two, but not like a lot. But you can see, though, the effort that the detail
it's
is
just so much
I'm looking at that one where they're like, he's coming up on Bravo team, and they have all of them there. It looks so great. And there's so much detail of all the soldiers and stuff. But it's something it doesn't seem like he can maintain that schedule very well. But I understand. But what would you give this?
I'd give it a
6,
7.
I'm going to give it a 6.
Of the art,
I'm giving it a 6 for the again. That means
I think the Hulk looks really cool. I just wish it wasn't what it is.
Eldest.
Yes, I don't want that.
Yeah, it's what it
I just want a bad Hulk that kills people. That's fine. It doesn't need to be eldest though. It's just I like how he sits on the throne too, the toilet or the throne. That's cool
like
looking.
Spread eagle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll give it a 6.
I don't care about Bridger.
No,
at all.
I don't either. Not at all. Where's Charlie? Charlie will show up.
Oh, you can count on that.
Charlie will show up to try to talk sense into the Hulk. But remember, Charlie saw that Hulk had imprisoned Banner and was evil, so this would make sense to her anyway. Maybe she could be used to fight. I don't know. But this whole Age of Monsters and shit like that, like 30 issues, and it was talked about. Now we're getting to it. Yeah, just not working for me. But we'll continue. We'll give it a couple issues. Hopefully it gets a little better for us, but people seem to love it. So we'll see. We'll see what people say. But that is it. That's definitely it. We're done. I'm going to edit this today. We'll get this thing out, and people can have the Spider-Man, which I remember not liking. I don't remember much from it except that it was boring as shit.
It was nonsense.
We were yelling about nonsense. So
it was under 5 score.
Yeah. So this is actually our book of the week.
There you go.
And I give it a 6.
Book of the week, jerk.
Yeah, yo, jerk. I should have played that earlier. Hey, what's your book of the week? Maybe next time nobody would even know because we don't play many things on this, but boy, that'd be funny. But in that is it. So thanks, Matt, for joining me. Thanks, everybody, for listening. We'll see what's going on next week. You said that there is a Doctor Strange #1 and also Spider-Man Noir. So we'll probably try to do those 2. That'll be the plan. So we'll be back next week to do that. But until then, we'll talk to you later.
You are all weirdos.
Weird science is the revolution. Weird science is the revolution.